So what can we do to shift the attention of Canadians a little southwards and shift the attention of the Indians a little northwards, if you know what I mean? So what should be the areas of focus to improve this or increase this relationship, not just in trade, but in other dimensions as well?
So you know, Partha, I think you raised 2 or 3 things there, which is one is...
We have a lot of time, so...
Yeah, no, because I think first thing which I interpreted was your notion on what we should be focusing on, or low-hanging fruit, as you called it, right? And the second piece was this whole notion of how to stay relevant. Let me do the second one first, because I think that's important. I think my personal view, and these are my individual views, I invest, these are not the views of our companies, and don't chastise any of our operating companies because they're management who run it. This is my personal view as an owner, I can tell you. I think it's more important for Canada to try and be relevant to India than it is vice versa. And I think my personal view is I think the sooner we arrive at that conclusion, I think the better place will be from a trade perspective. Otherwise, we'll keep having these trade discussions for a long time. And for many reasons, including not just economic reasons. If you see the way geopolitics is evolving, if you see the way capital allocation is going to happen, regardless of what happens, what your preferences for south of the border are, how the influence of American investments and American linkages in India will evolve. I think it's more important for us as Canadians to figure out how we become more relevant and in top of mind. So the intention would be, how should we encourage India to look up from the US versus us trying to say, you know, as Canadians, let's try and start looking, you know, down from China into India. So that's kind of just a personal view, and we can go into details if you want to. This low-hanging fruit, Partha, you know, it's been on for like, for those of us who've been investing in India for more than a decade plus, it's been always there. And my personal view is I think it'll take a long time before this mentality from a Canadian standpoint changes. And I would say, between co-investors and friends who we have worked with, I have seen probably more bolder decisions from Indian companies in Canada than Canadian companies in India. Like, you know, our own partners, when we made the first investment in India in Aditya Birla Minix. Aditya Birla Minix was a small transaction, $200 million, right? Very quickly, the Birla Group followed up with a $7 billion investment, right? A lot of it went into the aluminum sector with Alcan and the erstwhile assets of Pechin and all that stuff. And, you know, Soumen will talk about TCS, and this is the top of the iceberg, right? You'll see a bunch of things. So there is a lot of low-hanging fruit. I think it just comes back to, as a Canadian investor, you need to have a high appetite for uncertainty and a very high appetite for educated risk. And what I mean by that educated risk is you will find it's much easier for a highly risky, and nothing against junior mining, we have invested in junior mining also, a highly risky junior mining asset will be seen as far more less risk than a high quality investment in India for various reasons. And until we get past the understanding on risk and uncertainty, we will keep talking about the low hanging fruit and we be making peripheral investments.